when I started using it, I actively picked up the phone and recommended it to friends of mine, fellow head coaches that I want them to be successful. Like, there's no question about it. I'm Chris Babin, head coach at Katy Taylor High School. Been here for about 8 months, 9 months. So it's my first football season with Taylor. So the initial thoughts, I go back to practice again. Like, I wanted to analyze, could this make our practices more efficient and get us more reps? And then the secondary initial thought was, if this allows us to be whatever we want offensively in a more efficient fashion, then that's what I'm looking for, right? So what I feel like the Gridiron system allows us to do, if we wanted to be a super concise communication, super fast tempo team that is really easy to operate. On the flip side, which is actually kind of how we operate, if we wanted to be a heavy volume of nomenclature type of system and tag out all of our formations, tag out a bunch of our receiver route combinations and stuff like that, then that would allow us to do that as well. And I mean, so it allows us to do both. If we want to be concise, like with the hot calls and stuff like that, then we can be super fast and super short. If we want to be ridiculously long and not get delay of games because we're communicating a 13-word play call, then we can still do that because everybody's getting it simultaneously, and you don't have to go OC to quarterback to players to huddle break. You just go OC to players. And so that's what I was looking for, hoping to get in a system, and I feel like that's what we've gotten with GoRout. So going into fall camp, we were using a different product, and there were issues with that different product. The customer support was not near as relational, or was not near as knowledgeable enough with the operations of like football operations as I would have liked to have seen. And then some of the technology-driven aspects of this other company, they had some issues, and we had some issues with efficiency and consistency of the product. And so I investigated GoRout during the week of our last scrimmage, and by the time we got to Monday of game 1, we had the product in. I chose to pull the trigger inside of a quick, 3, 4, 5 day turnaround. I make the decision and we have the product in. And so we used it for, might not even have been that Monday. We might have started using it that Tuesday, and we played that first Friday. And the operations of a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday indoctrination process with our kids is all that led us into game 1. And we operated extremely efficiently, communication-wise, in game 1. It was pretty mind-blowing. And then, so we get through those only 3 days of prep with it, and then the football game, and we troubleshoot not some of GoRout systems, but some of our chosen structures. And we modify that into game 2. And after we modified it into game 2, like, we have not changed our chosen structure with how we're going to input it, the order that our kids are going to get it in. So that's kind of what that timeline looked like. I want to say we got it in on Monday, and we got some help from support and stuff like that, just trying to get familiarized with the software. And on Tuesday morning, like, we're using it. And so, I mean, the turnaround time from opening it in the box to understanding how to use it to getting stuff inputted was, I mean, by far less than 24 hours. I mean, like, we started working it on Monday and went home and ate dinner and went to bed, and like just those, couple hours here and there of just getting the thing rolling, and us understanding it is really all it took for us. Just like any offensive script, whether you're building it out on an Excel spreadsheet or a typed out wristband or whatever, that is a fluid document throughout the week because we're human beings and we put a lot of hours up here, and it's a bunch of play calls and situations. So that's a constantly modified document regardless of what your chosen indoctrination formula is for your football, for your offensive team. So I feel like it's the same exact situation with Gridiron on our Excel document. When we find mistakes, we put a receiver on the wrong side or whatever. We just go back that after practice and modify it again. So my offensive coordinator, he creates his Excel spreadsheet for GoRout on one screen, and then he creates his situational call sheet on another one, and they're just cross-referenced right there. So is it more leg work? No. Is it less leg work? The answer is no as well. You know what I mean? Like your call sheet has to be precise regardless of how you're going to do it. So, I mean, really, we build our GoRout sheet, and then moving stuff over to, say, third and long situations, we just copy and paste it. Like, it's not like we're retyping everything. So I'd say it's not more labor intensive, but it's not less labor intensive either. It's just what you got to do if you want to move the football. We use the Gridiron devices anytime we're snapping the football offensively right now. And so whether it's if we're in the gym doing a no padded walkthrough, if we're in full speed, good on good practice, if we're in obviously in games, it is part of our offensive system. Game day practice, all that stuff. The first notable thing that was unexpected using Gridiron was our kids communicated to us that they absorb the play better when they can read it, which I did not expect. They're used to verbally hearing it. Of course, just like most modern offenses, they have a signal system as well. But when they said they could read it, and they just like it better, I never thought of that, just never thought of it. Even back when in my younger days, when I was signaling in wristband calls like head to my quarterback, I mean, those kids, he's reading it, but those kids are still hearing it verbally. So that was an eye opener. I didn't realize that kids would vibe it better reading it, but it does make sense. They read text messages all day, and so that makes sense to me. On game days, simply just getting the communication to your kids is always the challenge, and regulating tempo and stuff like that, and the play clock. Gridiron's just made it to where that's never an issue, because we can practice in games. Like if they don't go together, then you're not a very good football coach in the first place. So we can regulate the tempo with such accuracy in practice. We can do the same thing in a game with our kids, so we can rock and roll a play every 25 seconds in practice. And so if we want to operate with tempo, with extreme levels of efficiency with our communication, we can do that in the game. If we want to slow it down, we don't have to tell them that we're grinding the clock. We just wait until we're ready to send a play in. And because it's so efficient, they can just read it and run to their spot in the formation. We can really regulate it. So that game day communication for coaches, players, everything's just simpler. We played 6 games with it, and we haven't had to burn one timeout because of it or anything like that. My OC likes calling it from the box, but if he wanted to call it from the field, and the guy that has to communicate it is receiving his verbal call from the box, it would operate the same way. So we go personnel, and then O-line play call, and then full formation type premise. So if he wanted to call it from the field, he'd be able to, in his headphones, holding a script. He'd call the personnel, and then the next category is that play call. So then he'd call the play call. Well, we're clicking the play call, and then he's just telling the guy clicking on it, hey, call the one with the tight end on the right, call the one out of rip near, blah, 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 and he would just select from that last menu. We don't do it like that, but if we wanted to, we very easily could. We add plays on the fly between series all the time. We add plays on the fly inside of series all the time. And so our chosen structure, of course, our OC is clicking it and calling it from the box. Well, we have another guy with the system pulled up that's essentially he's just a coach in waiting. He's got visual duties and stuff like that. But he's just a coach in waiting. And if we I don't know, if we want to throw a singled up fade on the backside of trips and we didn't have it there, and I'm like, oh, they're rolling a lot harder to our trip side than we anticipated. Hey, give me a trips left and throw the ball to the wide receiver right. Give me this call, and so he'll type that thing in during the call or during the game.
Yep.
Easy. I've never been a poster boards guy, but I've been a send the play in with a receiver guy verbally. And then I've been a full all 11 look at me signal guy. I've been the skill players look at me and the quarterback communicates it signal guy. And then I've been a wristband huddle guy where the quarterback's the only guy with the wristband. I've never been a full wristband team or anything like that. So, I mean, this compared to, like, it's not even close. Like, the labor-intensive aspect of even just building one wristband for my starting quarterback, like, that's labor-intensive just like making your call script is, So it's labor-intensive just like the GoRout piece. The difference, the cool difference between GoRout and any paper wristband aspect is when you want to add, subtract, modify, change, fix on a paper wristband, you have to go in there digitally and fix it, and then you have to print it, and then you have to laminate it, and then you have to stuff the stupid wristband. On GoRout, like, we make changes on the fly during a game, literally between plays, not to mention between series and at halftime. And then when a practice is over, if we have to change, add, whatever, like, inside of 10 minutes, like it's already 5 minutes, 2 minutes, it's already done on our spreadsheet, and we just make sure we upload it again. And so, it's just that's technology. You're not messing with paper anymore. And then the upload process is like that, like it's that's simple as well. So it's not even close. It's just not even close. I know that a buddy of mine down the road, they're using it. And they're just using it quarterback based. It's like their wristband. And I've communicated to him how when we put it on all of our skill players in our center, which is our chosen system, like, I think our players like it. And I know our coaches like it. So, but as far as feedback from my peers, man, I don't really know. The coaches on this staff, like, they love it. They love it. When we don't use it with our sub-varsities yet or anything like that. And so the tempo that our sub-varsities practice with, and then the communication aspects in game, it's more antiquated and traditional. So all their stuff moves a little bit slower. All their stuff moves a little bit less efficiently. So of course the offensive coaches love it whenever we have it on these kids, and our players love it. Like it's just better for them. Like I said, because they can read it. Not yet. No, we hadn't gotten there yet. But I say we haven't gotten there yet. With Gridiron, just this year, it was, football coaches are afraid of change, man. So it was a baby step. And as soon as we took the baby step, we took another step. I think, what was our first order? 8?
8, and then you got 5.
And then we got 5 more, right? Yeah, so we got the original order of 8, and we're like, nope, like, we need more. We like this thing. So we got 5 more. We're going to get more in the future. And then going down the defensive path, I just had a conversation with Drew Daniels about going down the defensive path and just stuff that I've never thought of, that through GoRout, communicating with other coaches and how they're implementing it, if those messages get passed to these coaches that are already invested in part of the product, it will just, like, it hit me right there. I'm like, God dang, we got to do it defensively. Like, that makes too much sense to not implement this little piece with our defensive kids moving forward. Talking about using it on defense, the idea that was just pitched to me that I didn't even ponder was throwing some type of situational awareness to our kids. And I know some defenses might be really rigid. Some, the expectation to adjust eyes or alignment, width, depth, all those things might change based upon situations. That's the way that I like defense to operate, is our kids play their technique a little bit differently based upon situation, 3rd and 2 versus 3rd and 11. But sometimes those calls can actually be the same, depending on your defensive nomenclature decisions. And so to send in those situations on our wristband, like, that's big time. Like, never will we ask a kid again, did you not know the situation? Like, why are you playing so tight, or why are you playing so loose? Like we send it in all the time, and man, you send that in practice, and your kids become ridiculously situational aware, like through practice, and so that's the cool part about the gridiron wristband aspect of it, is that how do you really gain situational awareness in practice for defensive kids? Well, there's two methods. Your defensive coordinator is yelling out the situation before every snap, which was my chosen method, or you give them an active visual on the sideline all the time with actual chains in your defensive practice. Well, the problem with changing your defensive practice is you need 3 humans holding the stinking chains. Mm-hmm. So like you're using humans to help you practice right there. Instead of using my voice as a defensive coordinator, instead of using 3 humans to hold the chains, we just send it in through the wristband and really generate situational awareness. So that's cool to me. Mm-hmm. The speed that it comes in and all that stuff, like I know it's going to be faster. Like I know it's going to be faster than simply signaling in and talking about defensive linemen have a terrible habit of waiting on the inside linebackers to give them the front call. That's a bad habit. Like we want them looking at that instead of being audio dependent. Mm-hmm. Well, now if it's buzzing on the wristband, like they just look at the wristband, they know what their stunt's going to look like. Mm-hmm. It's been fantastic. Like it is automatic, and so the funny part is I've only had to call support one time, and that it was just on a practice day. Yeah, it's the only time I've had to call support. When we first got the product, the indoctrination process on our end was I mean, the system's easy, so like the communication to just get us rolling was easily less than an hour, and we were already vibing with it, you know what I mean? And then the cool part is, and I'll drop your name, the cool part is Drew Robinson and Drew Daniels. Like, if I want to text those guys or call those guys, they're not part of the tech support department, but it doesn't matter. Like, they're responsive to me as well. So, like, I can talk to sales, I can talk to any department that I want to, and if I text them, they're like, give me 10 minutes, and then they call me back. Like, so it's pretty simple. It's great talking to people that understand football. Like, no one needs to understand what run schemes we're using or anything like that, but just understanding football from a football perspective of where traditionally for the last 100 years, where communications have to be repped and practiced and where the struggles exist. Like, it seems like the decision makers at GoRout like have a real world appreciation for the complexities of getting football communication efficient, and so it's good. I haven't messed with another system on the market for a couple of weeks. It's not even close, and I really go back to the customer service piece first. Like that was really the clincher for me. So no doubt, I love the visual compared to the other product that we use, compared to that former product. You know what I mean? I think the visual is great for the kids. They like it. They liked it better a lot than the other one, a lot more than the other one. So one thing that I do like about my communication with the Gridiron staff is that the Gridiron staff is like fanatical about getting feedback from people like me and trying to make it better the next year. You know, that's super cool. I feel like on the technology level, GoRout was already ahead of the curve compared to their competitors. And then, like, they're ahead of the curve, but they're not satisfied with the fact that they're ahead of the curve. They're really trying to get into the brains of people like myself that are trying to utilize this thing to its the nth degree. So, yeah, I dig that about GoRout. I cannot foresee any gridiron product being an injury risk. If people are asking that question, that kind of blows me away. Like, how is that even a thought process? You know, it's not like there's sharp edges. We're not cutting other players with it. There's a heck of a lot more sharp edges on the equipment that they wear than on the stinking wristwatch. Like, I don't even understand why that question would be asked, you know. And again, we go good on good every day. Like, we go hard every single day with my kids wearing watches. We've never had that issue. Not even a kid getting a wrist bruise from it. Like, it's a metal freaking face mask, and it's hard ground, and it's 250-pound people landing on top of you. That's what breaks wrist, not a 10-ounce watch. I mean, yeah, all these teams that I don't have to play, they should adopt it, because to me, I've been coaching Texas high school football for 22 years, and this is the easiest method of communication, most efficient method of communication I've ever seen. Now, the teams that I have to play, I hope they don't adopt it, because they're going to go through the same practice struggles that they were going through a year ago or 20 years ago or 50 years ago when it comes to just efficiency of getting your kids lined up and getting more reps all the time. So if I got to play you, I hope you don't adopt it. But if I don't have to play you, to me, it's a no-brainer to use the product. I mean, it's not some weird unfair advantage. It's a digital wristband. Like, that's what it is. And so if we were using a typed out wristband on 7 of my 11 offensive players, like, what's the difference? You know, the difference is that what the spreadsheet allows you to do on Gridiron is have 1,000 play calls that can just pop up on the wristband. If I wanted 1,000 play calls with a traditional wristbanding system, then they'd have wristbands on their ankles and on their elbows. And I don't see what the difference is. You just get a bigger menu of plays to operate from, or a bigger menu of defensive calls, or I don't see the problem. Yeah, with the exception being the NFL, because they have the speakers in their helmets, right? But everybody from Texas high school football to youth league all the way up to Alabama and Texas, like, they're all using the same structure, whether it's signal system, wristband system, run a play in with a receiver, like, they're all using the same system. So, and they're doing that in practice too. And as a football coach, I know I keep going back to that instead of really hammering the games. Like, we practice it so much in practice, like, and it makes our practices better, which is where you win the football games in the first place. So I don't know why anybody wouldn't use it when it's just so simple. I've already done it. I would recommend GoRout Gridiron to other coaches. When I started using it, I actively picked up the phone and recommended it to friends of mine, fellow head coaches that I want them to be successful. Like, there's no question about it. And then on the flip side of that, when coaches have called me, hearing that we were using it, some teams in our district were using it and heard that I used it, I vehemently urged them to use it. Just because, I don't know, football coach, we all want to beat each other, but we like take care of each other too, you know. So GoRout Gridiron has changed the way that we practice because of the efficiency of the technology. Reps, communication, all those things are priorities for every football team in the nation, and it's made our reps and communication increase. By what percentage, I couldn't even tell you, but it's a lot. So it is, GoRout Gridiron has changed the way that we practice, and thus it's changed the way that our offense has been able to be productive on Friday night.